Our first reading, our gospel reading, is from the book of Luke, chapter 12, and verses 13 through 21. Listen to what the Spirit would speak into your life in Luke chapter 12 at verse 13. Someone in the crowd said to Jesus, "Teacher, tell my brother to divide the family inheritance with me." But he said to him, "Friend, who set me to be a judge or an arbiter over you?" And he said to them, "Take care. Be on your guard against all kinds of greed, for one's life does not consist in the abundance of possessions." Then he told them a parable. The land of a rich man produced abundantly, and he thought to himself, "What should I do? For I have no place to store all my crops." Then he said, "I will do this. I will pull down my barns and build larger ones, and there I will store all my grain and my goods. And I will say to my soul, 'Soul, you have ample goods laid up for many years. Relax, eat, drink, be merry.' But God said to him, 'You fool, this very night your life will be demanded of you. And the things that you have prepared, whose will they be?' So it is with those who store up treasures for themselves, but are not rich toward God." Holy wisdom, holy word. Thanks be to God. And our second reading, our final reading from the book of Colossians for this stint. Our second reading today, our epistle reading, is from Colossians chapter 3 and verses 1 through 11. So, if you have been raised with Christ, seek the things that are above, where Christ is seated at the right hand of God. Set your mind on the things that are above, not on things on earth. For you have died, and your life is hidden with Christ in God. When Christ, who is your life, is revealed, then you also will be revealed with him in glory. Put to death, therefore, whatever in you is earthly: sexual immorality, impurity, passion, evil desire, and greed, which is idolatry. On account of these things, the wrath of God is coming on those who are disobedient. These are the ways you also once followed when you were living that life. But now you must get rid of all such things: anger, wrath, malice, slander, and abusive language from your mouth. Do not lie to one another, seeing that you have stripped off the old self with its practices, and you have clothed yourselves with the new self, which is being renewed in knowledge according to the image of its creator. In that renewal, there is no longer Jew or Greek, circumcised or uncircumcised, barbarian, Scythian, or enslaved or free, but Christ is all and in all. May God bless to our understanding this reading from God's holy word, and to God's name be glory and praise. You have died, and your life is hidden with Christ in God. When Christ, who is your life, is revealed, then you also will be revealed. I told you a few weeks ago that we would be coming up on my favorite Bible verse of all time, and this is it. Your life is hidden with Christ in God. These lives of ours, we only see a little piece of them at a time. We never see the big picture of any of them for ourselves or anyone else. We see little bits of them, but they contain things, wonders, truths, beauties, glories that the circumstances haven't yet revealed. Looking at another person from the outside, it's easy to judge, to like them or to dislike them, to fear them or to hate them or to love them. But we don't really know the depths of anybody's character. We don't know what they're capable of, all that they are or might have been or were at one time, all the beauty and the strength that has carried them up to this point in their lives, or that would carry them if they were in touch with it. We don't even know ourselves all that well, much of the time. Our lives are a mystery. holy and hidden, parts of them unrevealed, full of wonder. Our lives are hidden with Christ in that big mystery of goodness and love that we have called God. Let's trust in the hidden meanings of these lives of ours. And let us work for a world where everyone is allowed the opportunity to live into the lives and the selves that they were meant to be. Those better selves that are hidden from view for now, but which await them through Christ in God. I don't know why, but I've been thinking about a certain time in my life. Recently, I've been thinking about a time in my life, and as you know, whatever I'm thinking about makes it into my sermons. A time when I was feeling kind of stuck. After graduation from college, couldn't go on for any more education, I had too much debt, that kind of thing. And I was kind of stuck. I was working at the public library where lots of homeless people would spend their days, and I've been thinking about those unhoused people in recent times, and I guess talking about them. I had one very joyful, if slightly judgmental, coworker who was profoundly Christian. She was a Black Baptist woman, and she had the effrontery to ask every time she saw you questions like this: how is God blessing you today? How do you answer it? What have you thanked God for today? Her name was Darlene, and she was great fun. I remember her with joy, even if she was, even if her religiosity occasionally made me feel a little uncomfortable. But this story is not about me. It's about you and discovering what's hidden inside of you that you don't always see. One day, Darlene came into work with a big duffel bag, and she said, "I'm going to give all the homeless ladies makeovers." I thought that would get a bigger laugh because I thought she was crazy. She's going to give all the homeless ladies makeovers? She had gotten permission from the management of the library to turn one of the ladies' rooms into a beauty parlor. And she was set to give the homeless ladies makeovers. And she approached them and she said, "Hey, honey, you want to come get your hair done? Get your makeup done? We'll find your colors." Now, understandably, some of the homeless ladies were a little suspicious. And like I said, I thought it was a really dumb idea. These poor women, they stand in line for hours for a cup of thin tomato soup and a packet of crackers. They have real problems. They don't need to worry about their makeup. That was my thinking anyhow. They need homes, not perms. And the homeless ladies were hesitant. But then my favorite one, her name was Myra. My favorite one said, "Yes, I'll get a makeover." And so she went with Darlene into the ladies' room, and in about 45 minutes, maybe an hour, she came out glowing. That good soul Darlene had gently washed Myra's tangled hair, had conditioned it and blow-dried it and combed it up into, I think, what's called a French bun. And she had woven a ribbon through it. It looked really good. And though Myra was Caucasian, she was white, she had very dark skin from spending her days under the sun. And Darlene had patiently picked out the colors that worked for Myra's complexion and applied them to her cheeks and her eyes and her eyelashes and her lips. And not only did old Myra come out of that bathroom looking great, she looked happy. She looked so joyful, and the joy on her face was better than any makeup and any makeover, for it was a real makeover. A few other ladies, after seeing Myra, decided to go ahead and do it. And they had makeovers. And I felt ashamed of myself for thinking it was a bad idea to do their makeup. Yes, homeless they were, but human beings too. And they wanted to feel good about themselves. And they wanted to look good, if possible. These were still women who, if if I could guess, may have been little girls who used to put towels on their heads and pretend to be brides in front of a mirror. These homeless ladies had selves that I couldn't see. They had beauty that I couldn't see, but it was there. And when it was shown to them, it gave them joy. Are we not all like that? We go through these day-to-day lives not really knowing what kind of beauty we might have within or even without. It has to be shown to us sometimes. Someone as eccentric but deeply faithful as Darlene needs to see it and call it out, unlock it for us, and show us ourselves in ways that we've never seen. And in doing that, Darlene, I think, added a day or two of joy to these women's hard lives. We do not see each other in our fullness. We do not even see ourselves in our fullness. There are depths of beauty and wisdom and joy hidden away in every human life, concealed by circumstances, maybe even crushed by other choices that we have made in these lives, the other selves that we had to be, the urgent and the expedient. But fear not, when life is hard and you feel stuck, we do not always see the bigger picture of these lives of ours. There's a lot more there than we see in the moment. These lives are hidden, just like Christ, in the bigger life of God. Well, we're almost done with Colossians. I have enjoyed our romp through Colossians. It has not been as popular with you as the book of James, but that's okay. They won't all be. Colossians is a wonderful epistle. It tells its readers in the passage we just read, to strip off your dirty garments of the old self and to don the fresh new attire of the children of God. New clothing is an interesting metaphor for the ways people can feel and be new. An interesting metaphor for new life. You know, the folks at Colossae, they were people who understood cloth. They were cloth makers. They raised the sheep. They created the wool. They spun the cloth. They dyed the cloth into the rich purples that only the rich could afford. They transported the cloth to market. Theirs was a cloth dealing region. They understood clothes and cloth. And we all know the annual school clothing shopping trip is coming up for many of us in late August. New clothes can give you a new feel. In ancient times and in some places even still today, and in the early 20th century here today, new clothes were kind of rare. You might get them when school started. In ancient times, you might get a new outfit every spring, and you had to wear that outfit for the entire year to all the high-end holy occasions. You'd wear it to synagogue and to weddings and to parties, and you'd keep last year's clothes to wear on a daily basis. But new clothes were for the Sabbath day and special occasions. Isn't it funny how little it takes to make us feel new? Or maybe I should say, look how little it takes to show a person there's more to them than they usually see. For things that make us feel new are usually just things that call to our attention the fact that there's more there than we usually see. We all need to be shown the depth and the beauty that lies hidden away inside of us. We think we know ourselves. We think we know our lives and our stories and our abilities, but we don't, not fully. There's more to yourself and to every person than we ever see. Our lives are hidden, just like Christ in God. We only see the parts of them that are before our eyes at any given moment, and we're usually being ruled by the tyranny of the urgent, and so we move on. Our narrow vision, our tiny scope, when we gaze out on the lives of those we meet and know. And yet our vision is not much broader when we look at ourselves. we rarely stop to tell ourselves our story when faced with a new challenge or a new opportunity. For example, when faced with a distressing surprise or a new opportunity, do you stop to tell yourself, well, I am the lady that beat cancer. I bet I can do this too. We don't do that, do we? We don't look at our past achievements and the things that have gotten us through in the past and apply that to the current circumstances. I am the guy who kicked a deadly habit. This is nothing to me. I can do this. I got this. We don't do that. We face our lives with the bundle of worries that we bring to each moment. And in doing that, we underestimate ourselves and overestimate our problems. But if we would think about ourselves with a bigger, clearer perspective about what we've been through, what we've got within, the one upon whom we rely, we might do it with a lot more courage, a lot more joy. When I'm looking at my to-do list on a stressful Tuesday morning, I might feel overwhelmed. But when I remember a certain week in November of 2017 when we had 6 funerals that month on top of my to-do list, and I think, yeah, I got it through that, okay, I got through that, it was fine. This is nothing, I can do this, I got this. This is just the regular weekly stuff. And not just that. You contain virtues. You contain abilities, aptitudes, skills. You contain things within yourself that the circumstances of your life have not yet called forward, but might yet. There are beautiful things in you that have never been seen, waiting to be discovered, to be known. We're all so much more than we see or know, but eternity is long. Maybe we'll get to know ourselves before it's through, and each other too. Now, a hard question. Because when I was in seminary, we were told that every sermon has to be to the individual, to the church, and to society. And so every sermon has to have a little kick that asks you to change. And it's usually the part about society. And it is this. Did you know that we had it in us, in our society today, to look at starving children and to shrug and turn away? Did you know that we had that kind of ugliness in us? Because no one's allowed to criticize an ally who is starving them. We don't. We're told not to. And we don't. Is that who we are? Can that be who we are? Do we have that in us as a people? When did we become a society where you're called a hater if you speak out against a nation, any nation, that intentionally targets civilians and children and women? Did you know that we had it in us to be so callous, so self-involved? It's as if history's worst villains sat us down in front of the cartoons and gave us an iPhone to play with, to distract us so they could do their things. That's how parenting worked when I was a parent of small children. Have you ever wondered what you have in you that circumstances have not yet called forward? Some of it's good, most of it's good, but some of it might not be good. Have you ever wondered who you would have been and where you would have stood in the age of slavery or the Holocaust or Jim Crow or when we were putting Japanese Americans in internment camps during World War II? The answer probably lies in whoever you are today. If you turn a blind eye and look away from injustice and suffering today, you probably would have done it then. Historical factors have risen up in America today to show us a side of ourselves that is not flattering, that is not good. We've got a lot of selfishness and greed, and mostly apathy. It's part of who we are. We're humans. But there's goodness, and there's generosity of spirit and of purse. There's so much inside of us. that history just has to call it out, and we didn't know it was there. There's so much inside of us waiting undiscovered to have its day. Much of it is bad, but most of it is good. And the violence and the egotism and the greed and the power hunger of a few individuals can sidetrack all of us. But our lives are greater than the evil we connive at and the evil we collude with. We have depths of beauty waiting to be claimed. We have depths of mercy and power within us, and these two must have their day. They must be called to the fore, and if circumstances today are not calling for them, when will they? Every young life lost in Gaza for no reason at all, also contains depths of beauty and strength and wisdom and insight and skill that the world will never know. Each person lost is a divine gift wasted by human sin. And yet, maybe within the big economy of God, in that place that Jesus calls the kingdom and which Paul calls the new creation, maybe even those lives will yet have their day and come into their fullness at last. Our task is to labor for this kingdom, this new creation. That's all we have to do. There are many ways to do it, but it's really our only job, to work for the new creation. Our task is to labor for a world where human potential is not wasted by our sin. A world where we value the potential and the possibility that every human life contains, even the lives of the people that we are told to hate. And so, what do we take from here today? A few things. First, an awareness that when you look at your life, you're not seeing the whole thing. There's a lot of beauty, and there's a lot of possibility hidden away that has not yet been called to the fore. Meanings and powers and abilities that have not yet had their day. Let us be patient. And let us trust in that. Maybe someday all evil and suffering will be understood. I hope so. But until then, let us build a world that works for human flourishing. That doesn't say, I can't let you flourish because then maybe my kids won't flourish. I don't want anybody's success to come at the cost of my own. Anne Frank, Eric Garner, Breonna Taylor, all people who suffer injustice, who die unfairly or too soon, and who undergo fates that make us shudder. For all their tragedies, even their stories are not over. For every human life is somehow hidden within the larger life that we call God. And so, we must treat them like the treasures that they are, ourselves and each other. We must be patient with ourselves and with each other, for no one we encounter is wholly aware of everything that's going on in them and around them. No one we encounter is ever whole and complete as they stand before us. Like us, they are mysteries, incomplete, journeying from light to light. We must be patient with ourselves. We do not see ourselves as we fully are. We see only in part. In a sense, we are dead, and our lives are hidden just like Christ in God. Our lives in their wondrous fullness are waiting to be revealed and safely kept within the larger life that we call God. Let this truth bring us patience, bring us peace, and let us work for a world where everyone is afforded the opportunity to live into the people that they were meant to be, those better lives that are hidden from view today, but which await them in the bigger life of God. Amen.